It's like
And
back
here you're
loop.
going to click on the recording. And you want to see where the arrow is so you can pause it. We've got it.
Where's my-
All right. Okay, that looks good. All right, so we still have, it's just 7 o'clock. You want to wait for Kevin?
Yeah. I'm gonna assume he's gonna be it. We're getting a flurry of emails. You know, every meeting minutes.
And so now I have this muted. I'm gonna just test the volume, make sure we're getting. All right, so we still have it, so we know it's working, but I'm muting it so that we don't get a loop. All right, and there's Storm. So you want to let him in?
3, 4, 5, 6, or 7.
He's got a microphone and everything. Studio production. So the only other one that wasn't listening is Kevin now.
Storm, it looks like you're set up to be our DJ tonight.
And his audio is not.
Storm's got headphones on. Probably a good idea.
Storm, I can't hear you.
He's got a mic in front of him. He's got.
Check and see if he's muted.
I like it.
He's got the round table.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't
He's
look
like,
like it because see, this up here says mute, and so you can mute him. So
not a
he's
boss.
muted.
He
He's
had, my boss had
having a
camera. He had lighting system around him. He had back screen. Yeah. My boss was into technical stuff. He liked it.
Who are we gonna get to take notes?
Storm and Chris. I'm sure.
How you doing
I
there,
did,
Storm?
I did the meetings for town council 2 times.
Still not hearing you.
It's a hard task.
Probably hear me now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
I had my guitar hooked into this thing, and so
Okay,
my,
Kevin's in now.
my guitar doesn't say very much.
Kevin is in now. Kevin.
Oh,
Harper.
there he is.
So that happened like that because he's the recorder in this town council meeting. He set up as a second host. So he immediately pops in as a panelist. All right, and Kevin, you're muted. You want to just check your
Sound?
sound for us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so ready to
All right,
go.
we're ready to go.
I had a little bit of technical difficulty here.
Who's online?
Uh,
Okay, okay. Okay, good evening. I want to call to order the January 10th, 2022 Harper Ferry Town Council meeting to order. All members of the council are present. We have 3 live, Jim and Christian and myself, and we have 4 Zooming, Laurel, Chris, Kevin, and Storm. So welcome to all of you. Kevin, are you prepared to take notes from wherever you're at?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. Approval of the agenda. I am going to recommend that item 4D7 through 4D12 and 7E all be deferred to the end of the meeting because they all may require executive session. So instead of going to one and going in session and out of session and all that, I'm recommending, so let me repeat it again. 4D is in David, 7 through 4D is in David, 12, plus 7E Edward. That's my recommendation for a change to the agenda.
What's your feeling on the other executive?
I think we can probably do it without executive
Okay,
session.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Second that.
Do I have a motion?
I move to accept the minutes as amended.
Thank you, Storm. Do we have a second from Christian? Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, you guys have to raise your hand so I can see. And between Debbie and Verlissa, they can do the count for me, okay, and then let Kevin know. So I would say it was a full house, 7-0. Public comments, there are none. Mayor's comments, I just have a couple. I received a notice of Hilltop House Hotel site activity. I don't know if you have seen this one. It states, this is a notification to the West Virginia Department of Economic Development that Swan Hilltop is slipping, that's SLIPPING, slipping the beginning of the demolition process at 400 East Ridge Street from Monday, January 10 to Wednesday, January 12. Both gates will be locked at the onset of demolition activity for life safety measures. Site access will be for authorized personnel only beginning that day. Signed, Laurel Zamansky. Kevin and I try to get these. As soon as I get these, I get them to Kevin and we try to get them in the public domain right away. The other comment that I have is just a couple thank yous. I want to first of all recognize a very long and dedicated service of Christy Huddle. And Christy, if you're listening to this, I want to personally thank you for your extended period of dedication and service to the Corporation of Harper's Ferry, particularly on the Water Commission. Personally, I really appreciate, Christy, everything that you have contributed to this town. I also want to recognize George Owens for his service to the Planning Commission. George, if you're listening, I want to thank you also for your service. And Mike Busher, I think I acknowledged Mike before, but Mike was on the BZA for a very, very long time, and his term ended in October. And I just wanted to, and if I didn't do it then, I apologize. I just wanted to recognize Mike. And then finally, I just want to say thank you to Susan Waters for her long and dedicated service to the town, 19 or 20 years, I forget what it was. And Susan, if you're listening, I hope you enjoy your retirement. Anyway, thanks to all of you. Moving on to approval of minutes, regular meeting, December. Oh, I knew that. I was waiting to see if you would interrupt me on that. So if you go ahead and read that for me, Christian.
Okay. Until further notice, the Corporation of Harper's Ferry governing and delivered bodies will be holding meetings and or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch meetings by YouTube video, live stream, or listening by telephone. These options comply with the Open Governmental Meetings Act.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, now let's go to the minutes of December. Let's go to what's on the agenda first. Let's do December 13 first. Any additions, modifications? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve. We have a move from Jim. I have a second on the motion. We have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Whatever it is, Debbie, I can't see that far. Okay. Next item, approval of minutes. And I guess this was that a typo on here?
Yeah, it should have been 29 November and it says 18 November. So we're going to have to postpone that.
Okay. Do we have an 18, Kevin? Or is that
It was approved last month.
Okay. All right, so we will defer.
Can we approve it again?
All those comedians out of work. Treasurer's report. Okay, Debbie, you got the ball for this.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Town Council. The financials that you have this evening are for the end of actually October.
November.
Thank you, November. 5 months into the fiscal year 2022, which represents 41.6% of the year. On the general fund, with the removal of the carry forward amount of $1,094,000, the budgeted income then becomes 975,257. And so the income that we've received as of the end of November of 528,128 represents 54% of the budgeted income. So that brings us comfortably over half the income for the year, but of course, property tax receipts are always heavier at the beginning of the year, and receipts for taxes and parking meter revenue generated for this coming quarter will be the lightest portion of the year. So that's about where we should be. The expenses adjusted for the carry forward balance for operating expenses are at 17%. In the water budget, you may recall the financials do reflect the cost of the early warning detection system and not yet the reimbursement. I'm still waiting on that. I have confirmed it is still in good standing. They're just processing. So we do have the income reported as 36.5%, but when we make that adjustment for that grant, it comes to 38.5%, and we're at 32.8% of budgeted expenses. Revenue is a little bit lower than targeted, but it's winter and consumption is usually lower than in the summer. And I did do some comparisons to recent years, and it's a little bit off trend, but not enough to be alarmed. And you know, we're a month behind in our revenue reporting anyway. So with all that, remember it's a month before. So revision 2 of the fiscal 22 water budget is in the final stages of preparation, and a lot of that's going to be addressed later in the meeting. So be looking forward to that in the next week or two. I hope we'll see addressing that. Any questions I can assist with at the moment?
Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to
I
approve.
move to approve minutes, the financial reports for November 2021.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a second on the motion? A
Second.
second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to approve the financials? All those in favor of the motion to approve, raise your hand. Whatever you got.
Looks like it's full.
Let Kevin know what the total was. For let's just yell it out.
Kevin, it should be 7 now.
Okay, thank you. Debbie?
Okay, so we have then the next thing are 2 invoices that fall outside the parameters of the normal things to be approved within the month. And before I go into those specifically, let me just also say that I'll be meeting with groups of people throughout the next 2 weeks to go over that new process that we have. And as I am coming across some adjustments that we'll probably need to make to that monthly list. So I'm hoping that coming forward in February, we'll have just a little bit update on there. But so far it seems to be working pretty smoothly. The first one is for automated office, and that is for $1,679. That's split between water and the general fund. And this is the end of year contract invoice for the main copy machine that we use. We pay a monthly bill, which covers a certain amount of projected usage. And then every year in December, we get this final analysis that gives us all anywhere where we've gone over what we have consumed. So this one is, I've been tracking it for the last years, and this one's just $143 more than it was last year, quite in line. Any questions on that? And then the second one is with Bowles Rice, and you have the detail of that billing, which I sent to the council, and the total on that was $21.29 and 25 cents.
Any questions for financial officer on that?
Approved payment.
Motion to approve payment on both.
I move to approve the invoices for automated office equipment and Bowles Rice effective now.
Second on the motion.
Second.
Second from Storm. Discussion on a motion to approve. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion? Motion carries, I assume.
Kevin, 7 now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Police reports. I don't know if the chief is on.
Yes, he is. There's a little phone number up there. Just, yep, just push a lot at the top. Exactly. There we go. Okay, and you're muted, chief.
Good evening, council. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine, chief. Go ahead.
Like I said, good evening. I want to give you a report for December 2021. We had no accidents for the month, 1 call out, 8 assists, 58 citations, and 93 incidents. As always, it's a pleasure working with Mayor Vaughn and meeting with him and going over the goals and objectives that he would like to see the police department accomplish. We're trying to strive to meet those goals and move forward. And working with the council, it's a pleasure. Also working with the council to have them, stop me every once in a while to see what the needs are of the police department and where they can assist us at. I look forward to continue to working with you guys, and hopefully we can continue to move the department in a positive direction and image in the community so everybody can count on us. Any questions or concerns that need to be addressed at this time?
I have a question. The last incident, a psych emergency, can you define what that means?
I couldn't hear what you were echoing. Can you repeat that for me, please?
The last item on your list, psych emergency, what is, not what it is, that one was, but generally what is a psych emergency mean?
Dealing with a mentally ill patient, we get calls to assist the EMS, and they log it in as a psych emergency.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, Chief, thank you very much for your time this evening, and stay safe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ordinance compliance, you have that. Are there any questions on the ordinance? Kevin Hamilton, that you have that I could relay to Kevin? Hearing none, we'll move on. Budget and finance. Christian, I guess you got the table here.
No, that's going to Storm.
Okay.
Storm did all the research on our stormwater. He is the expert. I'm just the peon that just listened to him and just amazed at his presentation. So do you want to do the presentation?
Yeah, I can. I can even share my screen so that it can be seen. And I'll try to be as brisk with it as I can. And as it goes along, feel free to ask questions, but it might be covered. If I'm already going to be covering something in presentation, I will say so. But there's certainly a lot more information that goes beyond even what's in the presentation. So here we go. Maybe, there we go. Okay, it looks like it requires granting a permission I haven't done.
Hang on.
Oh, no, not on your part, that my computer needs me to do this. And I'm not sure if I know how to do this. So I
Can't believe that.
It's my 8th computer. I don't know it very well.
Your computer, okay, I mean.
It's okay if everybody has the draft in front of them, or I'll just talk to it. The pictures certainly help illustrate the need, but other than that, I can talk through it well enough. But yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Jay Premack, who really, it was the first thing that brought my attention to the town council really in wanting to get involved. As he had started to look at this, it turns out he didn't have the bandwidth with everything else going on to really tackle it, but did start to get me involved with this in this way. And also Region 9 had been working with their new stormwater specialist there that Mayor Vaughn put me in touch with, and Chris and Laurel, who have been involved as well. So from a lot of the work I've been doing with Region 9, we've put together a 3-stage plan for addressing Harper's Ferry stormwater in a comprehensive and holistic manner. If you're following along with the presentation, I'm going to slide 2. So where we have stormwater infrastructure, it's in a state of repair. And the result is flooding and erosion issues throughout town and excessive stormwater that runs into the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers, carrying with it a lot of pollutants. And that is, of course, an issue of high concern, both generally and in the region and with the Chesapeake Bay, and also in our own comprehensive plan. The 2013 revision recognizes the value of stormwater mitigation. And in particular, calling out reducing the speed and amount of stormwater runoff by retaining it on site and by providing buffers from the edge of streams or stream banks. There are a lot of other things in the comprehensive plan about it, but it is a priority for the town. And to date, there has not been any coordinated holistic event to address these challenges. There have been some individual efforts to mitigate specific stormwater issues. And there was a 2011 stormwater plan that was done for both the towns of Harper's Ferry and Bolivar together, but never was there really any action taken on it. So this will really be the first time. I'm moving to slide 4, if you're following along, because and I mentioned Bolivar in that 2011 study because stormwater does not recognize the boundaries between Harper's Ferry and Bolivar. It hits the ground and gravity and terrain dictate the rest. So especially for a wide swath of town along the border, coordinating with Bolivar is going to be key to achieving both towns' stormwater objectives. And I say both towns because in talking with Region 9, they would very much like this to be an effort that could be collaborative between Region 9 and the two towns. And I'll be getting into that a little bit more as well. So if you are following the presentation, slide 5, that right now, what I'm hoping council will consider is step 1 of a 3-stage holistic plan for stormwater remediation for Harper's Ferry and yeah, for our neighbors in Bolivar as well. Step 1 is producing a general plan, and this is the specific action I'm hoping we will take, which is a broad plan to identify what stormwater remediation elements generally will be implemented in different parts of town. And our partners for this stage will be Region 9, West Virginia DEP, Town of Bolivar, National Park Service. There are other stakeholders as well. Those are really the huge ones. And this is something that we, in order to really get the ball rolling, we need to do this ASAP. And it can be accomplished in the first half of this year, of 2022. And then second stage will be an engineering plan. So we'll have that general plan, that plan. And from that, the engineering plan will provide all the details necessary to obtain bids to design and build these different elements. And for that round, working with Region 9, we have had discussions with the Chesapeake Bay Trust. So they will be in this mix to help fund that engineering plan. And the hope is that that can be done in the second half of 2022, maybe earlier. It really depends on how quickly we're able to get things rolling while getting input. And then step 3 is implementation. And that's using that engineering plan as a guide and blueprint and the general plan as well to build out these elements to achieve the overall stormwater goals. And there are a lot of options for funding these. First and foremost, Chesapeake Bay Trust. And it will just depend on what comes out of these plans, what will be built and when. But, and for certain, any of these efforts need to be coordinated with other initiatives that are in progress or in various stages of progress of planning to improve the town's infrastructure. So some of these may require doing work on the streets. And of course, there are the sidewalks and the streets themselves, utilities that we have to consider. So when I'm going through this, know that all these efforts ideally will be coordinated. So slide 6 is the general plan funding opportunity that we have right now. And this is that broad plan. And I did get 2 loose estimates, no commitments, they're not bids, but they independently both came up with around the same figure, which was $15,000 to $20,000 would get us a very solid plan, fairly comprehensive. And the funding partner for this stage is the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, the DEP tributary team. And this phase 1 requires a 50% match. And that would be split between Harper's Ferry and the town of Bolivar. I know that it was up for vote last week, but I have not heard if they did approve their part of it. And then what's exciting about this is that this does have that match, but that will unlock stage 2, the engineering plan, that detailed plan, which can cost upwards of $75,000 or more. And that's the one that will provide us what we need to start work. And the Chesapeake Bay Trust, which is mostly funded by the state of Maryland, they provide 100% funded grants, no match. So by doing this now, it will unlock that engineering plan as well as other programs for stage 3 implementation, where we can actually fund specific initiatives. And I know that like Shepherdstown, Martinsburg, there has been work, the town of Berkeley Springs, Bath, that they have all implemented some of these in recent years. So I'll get to the ask, which is if we are providing 25% of the match, that will be $5,000. Again, I have not heard yet if Bolivar has passed to do their share of the match. If it's something we end up doing just as the town of Harper's Ferry, Corporation of Harper's Ferry, then it would be $10,000. But by allocating $5,000 now, it unlocks the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we could use for this stormwater abatement. Slide number 7. So as part of this plan, a little bit more about the Chesapeake Bay, or the West Virginia's Chesapeake Bay tributary team are implementing a watershed improvement plan, and they address new, existing, and expanded sources of nitrogen, phosphorus, and sediment. So they fund projects that use best management practices to achieve what they call load reduction, cutting down the amount of water that is ending up in our rivers. And of course, we sit right between two of the biggies in the region. And green infrastructure is one of the key best management practices, and it's something that is now becoming more commonplace, but it still is not dominant. And I'm moving to slide number 8. So there's green infrastructure in gray, and we will likely need a combination of the two to achieve our objectives, mostly because of how hilly we are. It may not be possible to do everything with green infrastructure, whose strategy is to hold water in place to the greatest extent possible, to slow it and minimize its impacts where it is not possible to retain it entirely. Whereas gray infrastructure, where we even have it, is what we have now, which its objective is to direct that storm water as quickly as possible away. And of course, that ends up, it can create erosion issues as well as dumping a lot of pollutants into the rivers. And examples of green infrastructure are things like bioswales, or big rain gardens that are designed in a way to really lock in water, strategic tree planting, detention basins, porous surface treatments. There's a whole menu of them that can be, it's not one size fits all. So depending on the terrain, the water, and the rest, there's usually a technology that will work. Gray infrastructure, that's sewers, pipelines, curbing, reservoirs, and asphalt and concrete surfaces. So benefits of green infrastructure: reduces the amount of flowing stormwater, meaning there's less that needs to be carried away. It's also, to me at least, much more attractive, natural, almost park-like in many instances. And many of these elements don't require specialized skills, materials, or equipment to install them. Some do, but some don't. And also property owners, residents, they can also be encouraged to do some of these on their own property. Had an initial discussion with some folks in Shepherdstown about potentially doing a workshop for the towns to learn how to do these things. Of course, gray infrastructure, it's well known. Contractors know how to do it, and the techniques are widely understood. And then drawbacks of green infrastructure is that some of them won't get the job done in some places, probably. That's what this plan is all about. And many elements also require regular maintenance, much as a small park would. And then gray infrastructure, we know what the drawbacks of those are, that they generally require a large amount of construction, often very expensive. They can be much more urban in appearance. and it can be difficult and expensive to maintain for its own reasons. So I'm moving on to slide 8, which, if you're not looking at it, it shows some of these elements, many of which you've probably seen here and there. And I think Hillsborough, that they incorporated some of them in their streetscape as well. And then in Berkeley Springs, they down Washington Street, their main drag, they've done quite a bit along there. If you visited recently, that it really blends in with what they have, because of course, anything we do in Harper's Ferry, it needs to be consistent with the historic look and feel of the town. And frankly, I feel like the green infrastructure does that a lot better than a lot of the concrete does. And that is the dime tour of stormwater. So are there any questions about generally what I'm hoping we'll be able to accomplish as a town, along with the town of Bolivar?
I was going to ask Storm, do you think we should be, seeing that we don't know what Bolivar's has approved their amount, should we take care of the whole thing just to make sure we keep this project, get this project moving? Or what do you suggest?
That would be the safe bet, to do an up to amount. And I really hope that we will be able to work with them on it. But if not, our needs are pretty pressing. And originally, when we started working with Region 9, it was going to be Harper's Ferry, and it was really them pointing it out. So that's how I was originally looking at it. It was going to be the full 10,000 for Harper's Ferry. Also, the better if we're able to do it collaboratively. Short version, yeah, I think it would be good to now allocate 10. Potentially, it's only 5.
Do we have a funding source for this?
Yes.
Debbie?
I'm prepared to do the motion.
Okay.
I just need to know the line item.
The stormwater line item is, great, right now.
At 977 Streets and Transportation Capital
Right,
Project.
thank you, that's exactly what it was.
977?
977 streets and
You're
transportation.
gonna go with 10?
10, yeah.
10, up to 10, and then remember, this is a recommendation to do in the next budget revision, right?
With 2020,
FY 22 revision one,
22 budget revision.
and you're gonna put that in then to the committed fund balance with Philip Gage.
And we did have more extensive discussion about the funding in the Budget and Finance Committee, where Deb, the financial officer, walked us through how it could work.
Okay, well, let me give it a stab. Don't second it too fast. Just want to make sure I get it right. I move to approve $10,000 for the West Virginia DEP tributary team study from the Corporation of Harper's Ferry from line item 977 streets with from the 2022 budget revision 2. Enough. Did I get it, Storm?
I think that does it.
Christian,
Give a second.
Christian, could we change that to say up to 10,000?
Oh, that's what he said. Okay. Yeah, he's right.
Up to 10,000. Is that okay, Kevin? Do I have to say the whole thing over? Or?
No,
Oh, we can't hear you, Kevin.
I didn't get what Kevin
Yeah,
said.
sorry. Yeah, if you would repeat the entire
I
motion.
move
What
to
was the name
approve-
of that line again, though? It was
Yeah,
line 977 streets.
And transportation.
Streets and Transportation. I move to approve up to $10,000 for the West Virginia DEP tributary team study from the Corporation of Harper's Ferry from line item 977 Streets and Transportation from the 2022 budget revised 2.
I have a second on the motion.
Second.
So you have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the half of it comes from matching funds and the other half would come from a DEP grant. And what my question is, who actually writes the broad plan? Is that someone we hire? Is that a do we look for a company or an agency to write this broad plan from which the engineering plan will be made?
Correct. So the funding, it will be going to an engineering firm that will draft this plan in conjunction with the two towns. So we'll need to get input from stakeholders on that. But yeah, that's what the funding is for.
Will we basically advertise for such a company? We'll have to go through that bid procedure?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Laura. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
7-0.
7-0. Thank you. All right, good job, Christian. Nice job, Storm.
Okay, second item, discussion action regarding the selection of cleaning services for town hall and the police department. This one, Patty Morse did most of the legwork on this, and she submitted to 8 or 9 different vendors who do this kind of work, and she got 3 responses. Just bottom line, we picked one, looked like, well, let me explain. To get it in our budget, what we did is instead of doing it weekly, we're now going to do this every other week so that it fits within our current budget.
It was
Or
okay.
close.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's
just wanted
close.
to try every other week to see if.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes with every other week, and then if it's not enough, we'll go weekly. But at this point, we're going to go every other week. But we are going to do what's called a first-time deep cleaning of the building. We just felt that let's get a good start. I don't think it's been done in a long time as a deep cleaning. Okay, so we picked Mary Maids out of Winchester. Sound like a really great group of people, and so I'll just make a motion for it. Okay, I move to contract with Mary Maids in the amount of $400 a month for bi-weekly cleaning services in town hall effective 1/10/2022 using line number that I don't know.
440.
And we're gonna get the other part too.
Use the
400.
400 a month.
That's just one.
That's just the one. Well, the one below 189 isn't it every 2 weeks on this sheet here?
Every time they come here, it'll be 180.
So I put 400 total. Just
Oh, so he's saying up to 400.
per month. Up to 400 per month, just in case of some
Okay.
tax or
Okay.
something.
Use second
I'm
alphabet.
good.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, except I need the line numbers.
It's
Oh.
gonna be,
What's it? I had it as 684 a month.
we're gonna try it for less because of going bi-weekly.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the contracted services under City Hall.
Contract services for City Hall. And what's the number?
440.
440?
Yeah.
For line item contracted services for City Hall, account number 440, plus we're gonna do the first time deep cleaning service. Up to $415, $450, make it 450.
Yeah, I second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
7-0.
Thank you.
Hope you got it, Kevin.
I did not, actually.
Okay, I
It's-
will,
It doesn't
I will
sound
get-
real clear on this end for some reason.
okay, I will email it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christian.
Okay, another item. Okay, so this is discussion and action regarding the, disposition of the first floor vacant space at Town Hall, formerly known as the liquor store. This space has been rented recently by the United States Postal Service, and that contract goes to the end of January. So we felt that we need to use this space. A little background on it, on the last council when I was serving in the spring, we had a long talk about it. When we looked at doing retail out of that place, services, hair salon, we looked at other things and just felt that bottom line, it wouldn't really work because of the parking or lack of parking. And we just felt we had more important needs for our own needs as a town. And we feel we're going to be growing. We're going to need more space, and we didn't want to lose it to outsiders. So we are going to, we felt at the time that the new council should make that decision. That's where we are today. We felt in the our meeting, budget and finance meeting, that we're looking at making that potentially the meeting hall for our meetings someday when we get over this COVID restrictions, where we can have public coming in and we'll actually have a town hall. But we're trying to do the whole building. It's more than just that spot. It's going to be looking at all our needs in the office. And right now, the action item is going to be more or less setting up an ad hoc study group to see what's needed in town hall. So budget and finance is not going to do it alone. It's going to be, some of us will be involved. So the motion is, hang on. Oh. Anything else that I missed for budget and finance? Hang on. Okay. I move to form an ad hoc office space committee to study and present options for the best use for the open space in the town hall building for town use. This committee will incorporate 2 members of the office staff, 1 member of the water commission, and 2 members of the budget and finance committee, which will report their progress at each town council meeting until the entire project is complete.
Second.
Well, make sure you're all good with some of this.
Yeah, let's go to discussion. Any discussion? Discussion, I got a discussion. I think the idea of an ad hoc group coming up with a plan is a good idea. This is not going to be a cheap, inexpensive route.
No.
This is going to require some engineering, because the way this building is set up and the way, we can sit where Debbie's sitting and then take her feet off the floor, and then she'll go all the way across out the front door. We have some structural issues in here that I think that we need to take a good look at as part of this ad hoc group, Christian.
Okay.
I also think that we probably have some very qualified members of the community that maybe have some background that might be interested in assisting. We've got some very talented contractors in this town that may be able to help this ad hoc group. Just a suggestion, instead of just narrowing the scope of it to town employees and town elected officials. Just a thought about that. Any other discussions? Okay,
Here's
Debbie?
Deb's got some.
On the council, but I was wondering if we could include some input from the police department, as well as making it a town hall rather than just office space, but as we think about the whole thing.
Town hall.
Like in the beginning, you said ad hoc, you need to look at the office space.
Right.
And I was gonna say if you could address that, say town hall, because it's really the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that
And maybe that's in thought.
yeah, I think the ad hoc group should look at the whole structure myself.
But I think there should be some representation from the police department,
Yeah.
as well as the water commission and the,
Sure. This is, we're not going to accomplish this in a month. So
Oh, this is a long.
this will be
This is a long time.
right.
And I want us, and I think monthly it should be reported to town council what the heck's going on, including the construction. I mean, the whole thing.
next week, next time might just be the committee.
So Kevin, what should I do? Can I withdraw and Storm withdraw?
I withdraw my second.
Or we can just vote on no on it and move on to another?
Yeah, you have to vote no on it at this point because it's been seconded.
What are we doing?
We have to vote no. I mean, we have to vote on it. This would be
right.
because it was second. So.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Geez, miraculously, no hands went up.
Laurel has her hand up.
Okay.
Wait, Laurel, did you have a question?
This was not about the vote, though. So we can complete the vote.
All right. Okay, What is that?
Opposed?
so it's,
Opposed?
Do you want to count the opposed votes?
Well, let's count them.
Okay.
Opposed? All right, and to make sure here. Okay.
0 to 7.
Yeah. All right.
okay, now go ahead, Christian.
Okay. Let me see.
Laurel, did you want to make a comment first?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm afraid I cannot hear you, Debbie, when you're speaking. I don't know.
Okay,
So I don't really know why this just changed.
There was specificity in the composition of the ad hoc committee, and the discussion, or the idea was that there might be other people that could be part of that
Oh,
committee beyond
okay.
who is
So
specified.
basically, we're going to reduce the specificity of the composition.
That'd be one way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'm working on it. Member of the police department. And hang on, I'm working, 2 members of the is this getting big committee get too big now? And 1 member, 1 resident member.
Maybe to be specific about who must be included, but not enumerate everybody who needs to be included. So like, I think the idea that
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm up to 7 people.
I wouldn't go any more than that. You could say
7.
possible membership could include.
And could include 1 resident member. Okay. All right, I'll try it again. Okay, I move to form an ad hoc town hall committee to study and present options for best use of the open space in the town hall building for town use. This committee will incorporate 2 members of the office staff, 1 member of the water commission, 1 member of the police department, 2 members of budget and finance committee, and could include 1 resident member, which will report their progress at each town council meeting until the entire project is complete.
don't second it. So as said, it's specific to the open space in the old liquor store space, which examining the other spaces wouldn't be part of the mandate if you're reading the strict what it said.
right. And that's what I was getting at, is that it seems to me we should be assessing the whole town hall
Right.
space,
So should I?
including the vacant space. Maybe that's the way to look at it.
Okay. hang on.
Town hall complex,
There you go.
The
excluding
use options of the town hall.
complex,
Town hall.
excluding the post office.
Can I ask, why are you including a member of the water commission? Is there a specific reason for that?
Yeah, just because they're a major user or occupant of the town space. So having them give input for their needs would help design the best possible use.
Yeah, that's why, because, well, you have Angie here, you have a water person here all the time.
Right, so I can see why the water clerk would be a very good person to put on that,
That is the person I had in mind a little bit.
but not the water commission, right? It's the,
No.
you're saying the water department.
I put member of the water commission. What do you want me to write? Somebody,
Well,
Representative,
she's not a
Water
member
department?
of the,
Water
not-
department.
she's not a member of the water commission. She's a member,
correct? You're
but she
correct.
is water department employee.
a representative of the water department, which would allow it to be an employee or a commissioner.
Right.
Okay,
Go ahead and read.
I'll try it again.
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it, Storm. That's a very inclusive term.
I don't know if I got that, but I move to form an ad hoc town hall committee to study and present options for the best use of the town hall complex for town use. I'm dropping some words here. This committee will incorporate 2 members of the office staff, 1 member of the water department, 1 member of the police department, and 2 members of the budget and finance committee, and could include 1 resident member, which will report their progress at each town council meeting until the entire project is complete.
Just a second on the motion. Second
Second,
from Chris. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? All right.
Okay, I'm sorry, you guys, I thought I had this together, but
You got it together.
it's a team effort. Okay,
All right, can you send that to me, Christian, please?
you want me to say it again?
No, he wants you to send it to us.
I'll send it to you. Not I'm sure if I got it right here. I'll get it to you. Okay. Next one is, oh, and by the way, can I just say something? I did measure the facility downstairs versus facility up here. This room here is 21 by 23 feet. That space down there is 25 by 23 feet. So it's bigger. And that's just the meeting space area. And there's even more room in the back, like I was thinking storage. So there's a lot more room in that location. And 2 doors and 2 windows.
can I add one thing to the discussion about that? I think we all ought to do some thinking about members of the community that could help as either members of the committee or as resources. I think there are probably people out in Harper's Ferry and maybe even beyond who have expertise in some of the engineering issues, some of the technical issues that could really help us out.
Chris, I was assuming they were going to hire on some of these people potentially, because we want it to be done professionally. We need a real engineer looking at this building, for instance.
But even in the initial stages where we're kind of looking at space and arrangement, certainly for contracting, but I think even in the committee and resource people in the community, we ought to be thinking about that.
Well, he has to suggest I'm going to get the
I think we've got that covered, Chris, with a 1 person from the resident community. And that was my idea of reaching out to some of the expertise individuals in Harper's Ferry that could lend some assistance to us.
And that's
So I
something,
think the motion will cover that.
yeah, and the committee, I imagine will or should be encouraged to reach out to those people in the community beyond who's just on the committee itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, and last item, discussion and action regarding trail and town's proposed East Ridge / West Ridge connecting trail on town property. Chris has really got this, but it was more for discussion. That group may be reaching out to us financially. He was just letting us know, particularly in the area of survey and insurance. So that's and Chris, do you have anything else?
No, other than reporting that based on our motion in the last meeting, that the mayor and I are working on a draft MOU to send to the town lawyer to review that, to see how that would work out. And then I think Deb Kelly said she would investigate some of the insurance issues, how that would be affected. So we're working on those questions.
Yeah, they take time. Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, water. Oh boy, sorry. I'm done. Done.
Okay, Water Department, general report.
Okay, the water loss for the month of December.
Because if they couldn't hear me, they're not going to hear you.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, the water loss for the month of December was 35.86%. The most likely culprit was a significant service line leak on Blaney Street in Bolivar. It was discovered on New Year's Eve as it was flooding the street and was fixed on New Year's Day. As everyone here, I think, is aware, the conversion with respect to the plant renovation, the conversion to the Paul membrane filtration system will necessitate the plant to operate at half capacity, as fully half the plant's operating capacity will be in the process of being removed and replaced. This is anticipated to begin mid to late February and should continue for 3 to 5 months. During this time, the plant will be required to run 16 to 18 hours per day to meet demand, which is double our normal runtime. And that will significantly impact staff allocation and how non-processing water tasks are prioritized. And I think we'll be talking about some of that later. We have the most recent Corporation Harper Ferry engineers report for the water treatment facility improvements. Work continues apace. Alvarez, the contractor, has completed the installation of the sleds collector, influent box, grading support at the sedimentation basin, and completed backfilling, construction of masonry cavity walls, installed wetwell pumps, piping, access ladder, and installed trusses, sheeting, roof hatches, framing, and sheet cable ends of the raw water intake structure. Additionally, they installed the bolted stainless steel tank and applied floor coating at the clear well location. Continued electrical work, completed installation of control conduits in all areas, and installed emergency lighting and exterior lighting in the treatment facility building. Site work performed includes installation of electrical duct banks from clear well to the sedimentation basin, electrical duct bank from treatment building and across the bridge, installation of bays for new and existing site lights at the sedimentation basin, built the site access road to subgrade from the sedimentation basin down to the clear well, and installation of the backwash tank, post, hydrant, feed, and raw vault sump pump discharge lines. Alvarez plans to install grading conduit and wire to chain collector drive at the sedimentation basin and install grading conduit and wire to mixers at the flocculation basin. They plan to complete the roof material installation and assemble the pumps at the raw water intake structure, complete installation of duct banks and site light at backwash basin, and continue electrical control work, install unit heaters and chemical conduits at the treatment facility building. The engineers, resident project representative, Dave Gusky, has continued on-site full-time inspection duties and has been coordinating efforts between Alvarez and Harper Ferry personnel. GD&F has received 55 submittals to date. The Paul Corporation membrane filter operation and maintenance manual was received this month and is currently under review. Alvarez received payment for pay application number 8 in the amount of $233,820.54 and submitted application for payment number 9 in the amount of $1,270,943.75. This application has been reviewed and approved by GD&F. This application, along with monthly engineering costs through November, in the amount of $13,126.85, will be submitted to the USDA as part of resolution requisition number 10, which totals $1,284,070.60. This amount should be deposited directly into the corporation's USDA account, at which time payment is received. The corporation will mail checks to Alvarez and GD&F. The 8th progress meeting took place on December 16, 2021 at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And the 9th progress meeting is scheduled for January 20, 2022 at 9 a.m. and is to be held on site at the plant. And for those of you who received this, there are photos attached. And we have for consideration this evening the resolution number 10 of the town of Harper Ferry, approving invoices relating to construction and other services for the water project and authorizing the payment thereof. Whereas the town of Harper Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached here to and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture and find as follows. that none of the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source, that each item for which payment is proposed to be paid is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes a cost of the project, that each of such costs has been otherwise properly incurred, and that payment for each of the items is proposed to be done. And now therefore be it resolved by the town council of Harper Ferry that the payment of the attached invoices summarized below are hereby authorized and directed, and that is to Gwynn Foreman, the engineering firm, in the amount of $13,126.85, and to Alvarez Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $1,270,943.75, for a grand total of $1,284,070.50.
Thanks, Bill. Motion to approve resolution number 10.
So move.
Who was that?
Storm.
Storm. Do I have a second on the motion? Christian.
Second.
Do I have any, Christian, beat you to the punch, Chris? Any discussion on the motion to approve resolution number 10?
I'd like
Hearing none.
to
All those in
make-
favor?
Hang on, Laurel has a
I'd like
comment.
to make a comment on the reason this is a much bigger amount of money than we have ever approved before in 1 month. And the reason is because they have received the whole membrane, the new membrane filtration system. The entire thing was delivered and is being stored at the site, and it's like almost $1 million in itself. And that's why this is as high as it is this month. I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Laurel. Good point. Thank you very much. Where am I? All those in favor of the motion?
Okay.
Opposed? Okay. Whatever the total was.
7-0.
7-0.
Okay. Resolution number 10, discussion action on amendment number 3.
To the owner and engineer agreement for the water treatment plant improvement project. Yeah.
Debbie.
So this is an amendment that's been proposed by the engineer with regard to continuation of the resident project representative services. The original amount that was in the project has been exhausted and was originally planned for 8 months, but also at older rates of service. And so the engineer came up with this plan, which some discussion has ensued since then. The mayor and I have talked with USDA a little bit about this, and we've decided that we'd like to have a further discussion with the engineer, and that will be taking place on Thursday between the engineer, USDA representatives, the mayor, Bill, and I, to discuss some other options we might have, and also to further assist us in planning to the full completion of the project. This does not cover full completion. We have approximately $265,000 in contingency money. There are already planned physical changes that are roughly estimated at about $125,000 of that, none of which has come to you, but that's what they're estimating right now. And this is another 100, so that only leaves us about 40,000 left over if we were to have any other physical changes needed. And if we were to exceed that by the end of the project, then from our operating budget, we need to come up with that money. So we wanted to go back and make sure that we have the best plan, and that's what will be happening. And so this will come to you probably next month for final approval with a revision.
Thank you, Debbie. Any question on that? So we're not taking any action on this right now. To discussion action regarding approval of ACH. Debbie, is that yours?
Sure, yeah, I can get that. So this is the agreement that you as the town council need to approve between yourselves and water customers that allows for the collection of monies from their bank accounts. And so it gives 3 options to customers. Those are detailed as to how they want to pay each month. Each customer would have to, who wants to participate in the automatic ACH payment has to fill this out. We keep this on file for each person. And it's just a formality, you have to approve it. If you want to edit it in any way, we can do that, but
I would just like to, I did send some comments about part of that form to you. Did you receive those? Suddenly everything got quiet. Can you hear me?
Oh, you know what? They're frozen.
They're frozen, but
Yeah.
we're not.
No, they're stuck in time. We get to roam around. Can someone, let me, hang on. Let me see if I can get a message through to the other side.
You could probably text Deb or email Deb.
And they're gone.
They're gone.
Just nobody here but us chickens.
That's funny. She's probably rebooting it. Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
I got
message
you.
her.
Yeah.
Where's Bill?
Chris, you look a little frozen too.
No, I'm.
There you are. You're okay.
I'm just-
Town hall.
I'm wearing the blue, the cold, the coldness. I'm trying to represent winter. I'm representing winter, which by the way is going to be close to 4 degrees. We're probably going to have freeze ups tomorrow, guys. Meaning I'm going to have probably a lot of people without water. Not a lot, but some. I'm hoping not a lot. We'll see.
Oh, they can see us on YouTube. Hi.
Oh,
Yeah, we're still broadcasting. We just, I
we're just
guess,
in a,
lost everybody at town
Well,
hall.
if I have the opportunity, running your water tonight, if you have freeze up problems, if anybody's listening, it's a good idea.
Yeah, this is a literal public service announcement. There are other things that we should be doing to make sure our water service is not disturbed by the cold at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. It's if you can just run one of your taps, any sort of movement helps keeps the water moving, keeps it from freezing up. So if you have a problem, if you're in a problem area where you've had problems in the past, it's a good idea.
I messaged Deb and
Like-
I've gotten no response from her so far.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
There we go. We got the logo at least. Maybe they were consumed by the logo.
okay, I think we're not
Hey.
back in our own meeting.
Hey, Storm, I love your
Crazy.
setup.
Oh, yeah. it's
All
my-
right. Can you hear us?
We
Yeah.
can hear you. We can't
Yes.
see you.
Okay, hang on. All
There we
right,
go.
well, that was very exciting. We've been to Mars and back while you were just thinking we were doing nothing. But, okay, all right.
We were at ACH.
Yeah, so basically you all just need to approve this. This is the form we will use to engage customers for this process. Any thoughts?
I believe I was making some comments. I don't know if you heard
Okay.
anything of what I said.
Nope.
What I did send a comment, I think, to you, Deb, about one of the items about some wording. So I want to ask if you will take a look at that.
Did you do that? I didn't see anything after I left the office at 5.
Okay, well, I'll check on it.
All right, hang on.
End up as a draft that I forgot to finish. I'll have to check on it.
Was
Oh,
it
but-
anything very substantial, Laurel? Was it something that?
No,
would
it
alter-
wasn't a systemic change in any way. It was really just a rewording of a part.
Okay.
Okay, well,
and
if it
did
wasn't-
not involve a change to the actual meeting,
yeah,
just
Kevin,
to make it clearer.
if it's not a material change, can
It's
we?
not a material change, right?
Let's go ahead with the motion in.
But I also want to ask, since this would, these are basically putting a bank account numbers right on a form. It's something that we'll have to keep secure, and I'm sure you have a way to do that. Is that,
Yes, and yes, we will be keeping it secure. And we also, I believe, will electronically be collecting it through the system, which will also, keep it out of sight.
okay,
We've got a lot
very
to
good.
talk about that you want to
Yeah,
mention.
so one of the things that was discussed earlier today was adding behind the wording in line B and line C under select one was basically adding a comma there and say, I understand I am responsible for the full amount of my monthly bill. And that way, if for some reason a person says, I want the maximum amount of $150 drafted every month, and let's say they end up with a bill one month that's $300, we would not want them making the assumption that because their ACH draft went through of 150, that they were good. Now if that were to happen, they would get notification of termination for non-payment within another week or so afterwards, which is why this is set up to go out on the 10th of every month. So they would be getting notifications for that, but the thought was to add that just so people make sure they understand that by filling this out and the ACH going through doesn't absolve them of their obligation for the full monthly bill.
Does our system send out a note when the ACH is made? What I mean is,
We're going to be sending out a notification in advance, as you suggested previously, that it would be being made.
what I mean is, say, like the example that you just made, that my bill was 300, but I only authorized 150 max to be deducted. So 150 gets deducted. Do I get a message saying that 150 got deducted?
I am not 100% sure of that in this moment.
Okay,
But
I'm just, and so if there is such a message, then that message could include the message that if this is not the same as your balance, you are
Yeah.
responsible for the rest of it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. So, and that we could also put it in that notice that goes out in advance too. That you're going to be, your account is going to be debited this amount. If this is not the full amount of your bill, you are still responsible for the balance. You can do it in the one that goes out in front of the action too. Yeah.
Okay.
Both. So we'll look into all that.
I just had one comment. I like the letter with those changes that you're talking about. As someone who never can remember what to look for the routing number, maybe when this letter is sent out, have one of those sample checks with the circled numbers would be helpful for people like me.
Yeah, I think that electronically, when this is done online, those aids will be there. This will just kind of be the guts of it. Yeah.
I got it. Okay. Thank you.
So what are we approving? Are we approving this form or the process?
Form.
We got one more thing after this.
Form, yeah.
Yeah, so
With
I'll-
adding that sentence.
yeah. I move to approve the ACH auto pay debit authorization as amended tonight and require that a hard copy / electronic copy of each customer's agreement be kept on file with the waterworks.
Yes. Second on the motion.
Second.
Chris, discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion? Thank you.
And before we move on from that, anybody on the council who's interested in helping with the first testing of this, please send me an email And we'll get you in the loop so we can try a test.
Oh, will that actually apply to our actual accounts? If so, count me in.
Yes,
We can all use storage now.
yes, we'll all use your account store.
Water's on the house, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to discuss an action regarding approval purchase of Kuzi email billing. Who's got that?
I guess I do.
I can talk about it.
So this is approval of a module that will allow us to send bills to customers via email. So this will also help us to communicate electronically with them, especially people who are doing this ACH auto pay. It helps get that in front of them in advance, and it facilitates a little bit of communication as well from the Kuzi module that we didn't have before. And people can either sign up to get both paper and electronic or only electronic. And this is 1,000-time upfront cost, and then there will be a slight increase to our annual servicing agreement that we have from Kuzi. And other than that, it does not cost us anything on a monthly basis. However, we pay about $450 a month in postage with the bank for stuffing services and postage. And it is our thought that we will save a tremendous amount of money
Yeah,
with that.
and save a lot of time for Angie.
Yes, a lot of time, and yeah.
And it's also what I think people nowadays expect from
Yeah.
utilities.
Yes.
I'll have a council member make a motion.
Okay, I moved, and it's been written down. I moved to approve the purchase of the Kuzi email billing module in the amount of $1,000 to be paid utilizing HFWW credit on the account line number item 620.8 office supplies, and to require customers to choose receipt of bills by email or postal service.
Hang on, let me stop you, because you're not going to be able to second this. A little bit of clarification that still needs to be made. I'm sorry, it's a long time since this was approved back in December. So if you look on, so one thing that you need to decide as a council is whether or not you want this $1,000 to come out of the credit that we have with Kuzi. We still have about a $1,900 credit with them, a little bit more than that from that scanner that never got delivered.
Right.
So either we need to pay them $1,000 or we take it on credit, use part of our credit. So that's why that says a credit on account / line item 620. So you have to choose one.
Use that credit.
Right. And the other piece is that where it says, and to require customers to choose receipt of bills by email or postal service / or allow customers to receive e-bills and also postal service. So you need to decide whether you want it to be, they can do either one and they can't do both, or they can do both. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that should have to choose one or the other, just because it can, well, one, the savings, but also just it can be confusing if you're expecting it by mail, it doesn't arrive at the same time, and where are you looking, which is the correct.
Right.
Okay, who's taking this on?
Well, I got it almost done. Choose receipt of bills by email or postal service /
So just stop right there.
Right.
Postal service, stop there. And then if you're going to do credit on account, then don't read line item.
Oh, don't read the line. Okay.
Wait, hang on. Let me just help you really quick.
You gotta take it from the top.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. New motion. I will withdraw my other motion. Okay. I move to approve the purchase of the Kuzi email billing module in the amount of $1,000 to be paid utilizing the HFWW credit on account,
Right.
and to require customers to choose receipt of bills by email or postal service.
Second on the motion.
Second.
A second from Storm. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
7-0.
7-0. Discussion action on appointments to the Water Commission. I don't believe there are any, right?
Oh, we're skipping. Okay.
Skipping a lot.
We're
Yeah,
skipping a lot.
Circle back to those.
Water plant manager's report. Is Chris online or?
Yes. Yes, I am. I just wanted to add, we are going to 50% capacity. My biggest concern is leaks not being found for extended periods of time, like this one, the one that we had that brought us up to 35%. If a leak that size were to happen while we're using just one filter, it would cost us countless hours that would simply do not have. The solution is to have Sean and hopefully the new OIT do a lot of leak detecting. So that's going to be the top priority. We've been very successful with our leak detecting program. I'm just going to increase it in these coming months. So I have one other question. I am going to be involved in the executive consent, right?
No, not unless we have a technical question.
Well, okay, because I have a lot to offer. I just wanted to stress the COVID has affected we have two people from Alvarez's team that just got COVID, and so it's affecting the water plant now too as well, and hiring people, not waiting around. We need to get these hiring process going, guys. Just and not waiting. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chris. We're all aware of that, Chris. We're aware of the timelines and deadlines that you guys are under. Trust me, we are aware of that.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to report on, Chris?
No, it was a good year.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Anybody have any questions for Chris?
Hey, Chris, I had one thing, budget and finance. I've noticed we're starting to do more work with outside contractors for our leaks. And, we bought a lot of equipment this past year.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And all that will change once we get this OIT. My problem is I just don't have the manpower to get this done. I line up things and people call out sick, and it delays us. So if one person calls out sick, I can't do it. So I'm having to rely on outside contractors. Yeah, but all I'm just I'm just missing an OIT and hopefully a class 2 operator, and all that changes.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris. Okay, Planning Commission. Is anybody from planning or no?
Yeah, oh, where's Tim? I'm gonna swap this two out in a second. There we go. All right, Tim, you're muted. There we go.
Okay. There. Good evening.
Good evening, Tim. Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Tim.
Happy New Year. I've got really nothing to report. We didn't have a meeting on the in December. There was nothing on the agenda, and it was close to the holidays, so we didn't meet. And we have a meeting in a week, and in which we'll have election of officers, but there's nothing that's come our way yet.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Any questions for Tim?
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, Tim, for hanging around.
Okay, good night.
Is Guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Guy, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go
Hey,
ahead, Guy.
Guy.
Okay.
Yep. Hi, Happy New
Hi.
Year, everyone. Okay, we, Historic Landmarks Commission, we held our meeting in December. We had full attendance. We welcomed our new member, Tommy Van Fleet. We've been, over the past month, working on our annual report for the West Virginia State Historic Preservation Office, and that's due January 31st. So I've got a draft of that ready for review at our next meeting that's next week, next Monday. We've also worked on a nomination for the National Historic, the National Register for Historic Preservation. That's 670 East Ridge Street, California Ranch House. Doing a fair bit of research on that. I'm sure people are familiar with that house, and we'll. So we've been looking at the history of that house, and we're going to discuss it at the next meeting because it raises an important question, and that's the period of significance for Harper's Ferry, and whether we want to draw a line at some point, either by date or by style, because this, I think, actually is the first house of its time, California ranch house style, seeking preservation status. So I think it'll be an interesting discussion at our next meeting. Was that a question?
No, I just said that will be an interesting discussion about that style.
Right. So we'll have that on the agenda. There are other things on the list here. Weaver Gillison House, give you an update what we've been working on there. We've been continuing to clear some trees and vines from around the house. I hope everybody's had a chance to see that we're continuing to make progress there, and I wanted to thank the tree committee for helping out with getting some trees removed from the street, from the Washington Street side of the property. So it's really, really starting to open up. And the other thing we've been working on is getting some of the open windows covered. And there's some failed siding that we want to get covered. And then looking forward, we want to get the roof sealed, and the porch is starting to collapse. So we want to get that stabilized as well. And it's also one of the grants we want to apply for within the next couple weeks, few weeks here. There are multiple grants we want to apply for. One, to work on Weaver House, maybe a sign, a wayside sign. And another is a type of welcome letter package for new residents. There's some money from the West Virginia Historic Preservation Office that we could put towards publishing something and doing something professional. And actually appreciate you sharing that, Mayor Vaughn, with us. So we'll be applying for that. And there's another grant as well related to African American history preservation that I think would be a good fit. So 3 grants within the next week. And I think we'll discuss the priorities for the year ahead. I've got my own list. I think other members will also bring their own lists of priorities for the year ahead for us to discuss so that we can work towards those. Certainly educating the town on what what's in the historic district in terms of the properties that are there, the periods of significance is something that the West Virginia State Historic Preservation Office would like us to focus on. So I think we can do that well this year, and also, win more grants and bring more money to the town for historic preservation. Been talking on a regular basis with the West Virginia SHPO, and I think we all feel maybe that Harper's Ferry is the most important historic site in West Virginia and one of the most important sites in the country, and that we should be able to win and raise a lot of money for historic preservation and bring that to the town and make the town better. So that's our focus right now.
Well said, Guy. I can tell you from my visit to Charleston that Harper's Ferry has a very, very good friend in the senior staff of SHPO. So they are very well cognizant of the role that we play in the historic nature of the state of West Virginia. So we got some very good friends in SHPO.
I agree.
So any questions for Guy? Thank
No.
you, Guy. Thanks for hanging around.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Board of BZA, discussion action, appointment to Board of Zoning. I am pleased, as you all know, that Ed Wheelis has graciously submitted a request to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I don't think it's necessary for me to read the long list of Ed's accomplishments in Harper's Ferry and what he stands for. I think that this is a tremendous asset, or will be a tremendous asset to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Kevin, I forget how we do the appointments now. Could you refresh my memory?
Yeah, someone has to formally nominate Ed for appointment to the BZA, or if
And
there
is that
are
a
any
roll
other,
call?
and then a roll call, yes or no, since there's only one applicant.
Okay. All right, I'll open up the council for nominations for appointments to our Board of Zoning Appeals.
I nominate Ed Wheelis to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, thank you. We have Ed Wheelis nominated. Any other nominations?
Is there a term that we have to put on this? Kevin?
Yes, we have 3 vacant seats right now. 2 of them expire on 1st January 2023, and the other expires on 1st January 2025.
What do you think, Chris?
Ed didn't express the time
the long
frame
one.
here.
Well,
Chris should know.
Ed,
Well, you know, the safe bet could be we
23.
fill the 23, and then Ed can make a decision at the end of 23.
Yeah, I append. I nominate Ed Wheelis to serve on the Water Commission with a term ending 1 January 2023.
Okay.
No,
Are there any other
no, water-
nominations?
Oh, sorry.
You said Water Commission.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
I withdraw.
Water in your brain.
We'll take that too.
I do not want Ed Wheelis on the Water Commission.
All right.
Right, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't have
water.
to, you don't have to make a motion.
Oh, right.
Because he's already been nominated. So at this point, we just vote yes or no by roll call.
Water Commission. Okay, all right, I'm gonna close nominations because I heard no other nominations. I'll call the roll. Which, Kevin?
Sure. Let's see, Chris Craig.
I should vote aye.
Okay. Storm DiCostanzo,
Aye.
Laurel Drake,
aye.
Jim Jenkins,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
and I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Did he pass? All right. Yay.
Okay, Ed Wheelis is appointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the term expiring 1st January 2023.
Okay, let's go to new business 7A, discussion action regarding appointment of town council member to serve on the Budget Finance Committee. I have a resignation letter from Chris Craig resigning from the Budget and Finance. So I'm looking for a nomination, Laurel, to serve on the Budget Finance Committee, or anybody that might be interested in serving on the Budget Finance Committee.
I nominate Laurel Drake to serve on the Budget and Finance Committee.
Okay. I can't tell whether Laurel has fallen out on the floor or whether she's,
I'm here.
okay. All right, any opposition to, we don't have to do this formally, do we, Kevin?
It can be done either way. It can be done through the nomination process that we would use for other commissions and committees, or you can do it as a motion either way, because we're talking about council members on an ad hoc committee
Right.
of the council itself. So
Okay, so I guess Storm has nominated Laurel to serve on the B&F committee. Any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. Call the roll, Kevin.
So Laurel Drake is nominated for Budget and Finance Committee. Chris Craig,
Aye.
Storm DiCostanzo. Did he?
Aye.
I didn't
Yep.
hear. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
No.
Laurel, would you like to vote on that?
I will agree and vote aye to that.
Okay. Jim Jenkins,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mayor.
Aye. All right, welcome, Laurel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Discussion action regarding appointment of town council member to serve on the ORC. Kevin, the ORC is you, Jim, and
Chris.
And me.
Chris. But you didn't take yourself off of that, did you, Chris?
No, I am willing to continue on
Okay.
ORC.
So we don't really have a vacancy then, correct,
No.
Kevin?
No.
I was gonna ask, can you take an outside person on that? I'm just asking, is that?
That's really up to council, I suppose, since it's technically an ad hoc committee of the council.
If you got somebody that's interested, maybe we can bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll do
In
that.
addition.
I have somebody with good writing skills.
Okay, all right, let's go to 7C. Discussion action on approving a resolution. You should have that. And this resolution basically just outlines the process of paying B&O tax by the hotel, which we will be getting our first check from them probably either April 1 or April 15, and every quarter thereafter, just like any other business in Harper's Ferry. There's nothing unique about this. I just think that it makes sense that we have this proposition, or what do we call it? Proposition or resolution?
It's a resolution.
We
It's
have this
resolution
Yeah.
2022-01.
Okay. And it just outlines that the hotel is going to pay the B&O tax rate as anybody else. And that's all that it basically says. And so, and I'm just looking for a motion to approve this resolution. You got a bunch of handouts with this. One of them was online. These are public documents that have been in existence for a couple of years. One of them was 40 or 50 pages long, and you know, you can do with that what you want. We've got hard copies, I believe, on file up here. But I'd like to get this resolution approved, and I'll get a copy over to Laurel Zermansky.
Can I look at, I may want to, I was thinking of changing the wording. Hang on, let me find it.
While he's looking that up, if I can add something, which is I did review these documents and I was familiar with most of them. And it's just reiterating something that's already in the TDD legislation, that it calls for that. All these taxes must be paid in the same manner as anybody else. So.
Correct. There's nothing, no special treatment on this. They're not getting the discount rate or anything. They are paid the exact same rate as any other business, contractor, or whatever that works in Harper's Ferry.
Yeah,
And that is what the TDD states.
Yeah, and they pay quarterly, just like everybody
like
else.
all the businesses. Okay, I didn't have anything. I see. It's okay. I just thought the dollar amounts you had on there were that you have the word approximately.
Right.
So that means it could go over.
Yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion that that the council approve the resolution 2022-01 about B&O taxes in the TDD.
Thank you, Laura. I have a second on the motion.
Second.
We have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
7-0.
7-0, yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, who was that second from?
I was. And I look
you.
forward to April.
As we all do.
Yeah, and I suggest everyone, the documents that he sent, or a lot of them I'm very familiar with, that you should read through them. The agreement, the studies that were done, like Ernst & Young, and the other one, Fisher, and just so you know, it's so in case you get a question on it. It was good. It was exciting times when we went over those things in the past.
Thank you, Christian. Before we go in or discuss the possibility of going into executive session, 7D, discussion action on office inclement weather process policy. You should have a draft before you. Patty had put together a draft on this, and then she and I worked together, and I added some specific things in here. I did not want to leave anything open that we would have to guess about. What should we do in this kind of a situation or that kind of a situation? I've read Charlestown's and I believe Shepherdstown's, and they have something similar. So I hope you've had a chance to look at this. It basically says that when we go into like this morning, when was it? 2-hour delay yesterday, or yesterday on a 2-hour delay. The school system went in a 2-hour delay. We went in a 2-hour delay. This thing basically says that on a 2-hour delay, the mayor has the authority before the 2-hour is up, which would be before 10:30 in the morning, to either extend the delay or to do away with the delay and call employees into work. If he extends or she extends the delay, that places everybody on administrative leave. Administrative leave is just regular time. They're not being charged. If somebody cannot get in, then they will write a document to the mayor with requesting an exemption. And then it will be up to the mayor based on the information that he or she reads as to whether to continue to approve administrative leave or not authorize administrative leave, basically on circumstances. If we have an employee that, while all of us in this room here and for 5 of you watching, we put the policy in effect that it's inclement weather and you can't come in, we got 3 feet of snow out, so you're going to continue in an administrative leave capacity being paid. However, there are essential employees who are life safety employees, Harper Ferry Police Department, and members of the water department who are class 2 operators who make water. So those employees are life safety employees. They would be required to come in. And based on the fact that they would be required to be here while the rest of us are at home sitting around the fireplace, they would receive a compensation package of 2.5 times their hourly rate. So that's the proposal.
Oh, I move to adopt the inclement weather policy of January 2022.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion? All right.
7-0.
All right. We have gone through the agenda with the exception of 4D 7 through, 4D 7 through 4D 12 and 7E. I have looked at all of these items and I am requesting that we go into executive session based upon West Virginia Code 69A-4 sub-2-A, discussing matters of appointment, retirement, promotion, transfer, demotion, disciplinary resignation, dismissal, compensation, etc. of employees.
Is
I
that the
second.
right? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I move that we go into executive session.
We have a second on the motion.
second.
We have a second from Storm. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Okay, we are now in executive session.
I sent to any council members that are zooming an invitation for the meeting, so you will click on the link in that invitation to join this session. And when that session is concluded, come back to the invitation that you joined the meeting you're in right now. And
Okay, I'll bring
get back in
Okay.
the session we're in.
Got it. Chris, did you get that?
No, I'm not.
I didn't
understanding.
understand either.
So we're going to move to the executive session link that Deb had sent, the second one. And then after we're done with executive session, we'll click this link again to rejoin this version of the Zoom.
But did she send the executive link first and then this meeting second?
I have just now sent to you the link for
Oh,
executive
okay.
session.
So we're about to get it. Thank you.
I don't
Right.
have it yet.
Okay, I will check. Did have trouble with this the other day.
This makes me real nervous when we go into executive session. I have visions of this stuff in Zoom.
Yeah, I know.
I tested it this morning and it worked just fine. No.
It was easier in the old days. You send everybody out the room. All right, leave.
Yeah, that's what I used to do.
All right, you should be getting it now.
Okay, I got
Just
it.
got it. Yeah.
All right.
See you, Chris. See you soon.
This iPad is really just become a favorite device. All right, let's get this.
By the way,
now.
we have these class operators. Are they is it
Storm, did you get your invite?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, you're in the wrong meeting.
Ah, okay. No, this was from 4 p.m. I didn't see another one.
That one from, oh, now, I just sent you one just now. It says executive session. There we go. Okay.
We have
We're not going to get this disconnected here so we don't have some tragedy befall us. All right, we can back that up now. Please.
Do what, back it up?
Back it up and get them framed in. And then I'll just make sure that everybody's back in. Oh, wait, we got a couple.
Real fast. I knew these things were gonna be hard.
Hopefully Chris's battery held up.
Okay, everybody's in. If you just got in, you
Yes,
are
Chris.
still muted. But I think it looks like you're all muted. Okay,
Wave his hand, that's all.
Okay.
we need.
all right, I think you're good now.
Okay, thank you. Council, we're on item number 4D, 7 through 12. Chair will entertain a motion.
Yes, I move to hire Ryan Slusher as an operator in training for the Harper's Ferry Waterworks, starting as soon as he is available, with starting pay at $16 an hour.
Second,
I have a second from Chris.
Chris.
Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, was that with benefits, did you say? Or
Oh, I did not say that.
Yes.
With benefits, yes.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Whatever it is.
Yep, that looks good. 7.
Okay. Let's go to 4D8, discussion action regarding request to hire temporary class 2 operator.
Yes, I move to advertise to hire a new temporary Class 2 operator for the waterworks at a rate between $20 and $25 an hour for the period when the water plant will be operating at half capacity, pending legal review and approval of the impending budget revision.
I have a
Second,
second. I have a second on the motion. We have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion?
Was it clear that that was temporary? Right.
And that is temporary. That's correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Give me a count.
7-0.
7-0.
and Storm,
have-
you can send me that wording, right?
Yes,
Okay,
Thank you.
we have 3 other items. Christian, are you,
Yep, I'm ready. Okay, X.
you can do it all as a group, I guess.
Well, I was gonna do it individually with the
Okay,
dollar
okay,
amounts. and
that's fine,
everything.
that's fine.
I move to approve a temporary wage increase of 10% for Chris Steyer salary, effective January 21st, 2022 for 6 months due to the additional hours and complexity of works associated with the completion of the water plant upgrades and requirement for water production to function at half capacity during this time. Pending legal review and budget revision approval.
Have a second on the motion. We have a second from
Second.
Chris. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? We count.
Okay.
7-0.
Next one is item 11, that'd be Spanos. Okay, here we go. I move to approve a temporary increase for Chris Spanos in his salary effective January 21st, 2022, from a salary of $20.78 an hour going to $22.78 an hour for 6 months due to the additional hours and complexity of work associated with the completion of the water plant upgrades and requirement for water production to function at half capacity during this time, pending legal review and budget revision approval.
Good job. Second on the motion. You have a second? from
Second.
Chris. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
7-0.
7-0.
Okay,
Christian?
number 12. Okay, this is, I move to a temporary increase in Sean Daney's salary effective January 22nd, 2022, from $17.22 an hour to $19.22 an hour for 6 months due to the additional hours and complexity of work associated with the completion of the water plant upgrades and requirement for water production to function at half capacity during this time, pending legal review and budget revision approval.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Chris, second on the motion. Chris,
I
any
think,
discussion on the motion?
I just want to, I think you said January 22nd when you said that.
January 21st.
Can we
Sorry.
make an,
Thank
can
you.
we make an amendment to that?
I wrote down 21st because I thought that's what he said. I was typing as he said it.
All right, he said 21st.
Okay,
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
7-0.
All right, let's go to item 7. E. Edward.
okay.
Christian, can you send those to me, please?
I will, yeah, I didn't expect you to. Okay, the last one, I hope this is okay with the way I've written it. I move to promote by the next pay period Patty Morris, our current,
Oh,
our current office coordinator from a provisional position to a full-time position with a top band of 32 hours.
It has to be retroactive to November 22nd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It must be.
And if, okay, I retract my motion.
Retroactive to,
November 22nd.
Yeah.
November,
retroactive to November.
I move to promote retro active.
It's not promotion. It's a,
It's changing status.
Retroactive
It's a-
job status,
it's not
not changing job status to full-time.
yeah.
To change her job status,
To regular full-time.
but to okay, so not next period, but
Retroactive.
retroactive to November 22nd,
2021.
2021. Okay, try it again. Okay, wait. Sorry. Okay, I move to change Patty Morris's job status retroactive to November 22nd, 2021. No, I have this on there, to a full-time position with a top band of 32 hours.
second.
Second.
On the motion, we have a second
Quickly.
from upper left. Who is that? I can't see who that is. Debbie, is that my eyes?
This
Upper
is
left.
Storm.
Okay, we have a second from Storm. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion?
Kevin, did you have a question?
Kevin?
32 hours per week.
Right.
Okay, okay.
32 hours annually.
Per year?
Thank you, Kevin.
Good catch, Kevin. Okay. I don't need to amend it or anything. Oh, I just said 32 hours. I just added the week, so
Right.
that's
Okay.
okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, we have one abstention. Abstain?
Um,
Abstention. Isn't it called abstention? Abstention.
I think he,
you cannot abstain unless you have a personal stake in
That's true.
voting yes or no.
I don't
In
feel
which case you would have to
voting
recuse
matter.
yourself.
Excuse me, okay, let's say again.
In which case you would have to recuse yourself.
I vote
So
aye.
you either- Okay. Thank
We
you.
have 7-0. Thank you, Jim. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? So we have a second. We have a second from Storm. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. We are dismissed at 10:30 PM. My God.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everybody.
I was in.